session to manifest health.
Good morning.
To face your anxiety.
Good morning. Cut that down. Good morning. Truth Disclosure 369 in the house once again. Just wanted to get on here this fine morning. For all those who may come by this video, I greet you in the greeting universal words of peace. I say that because that's all I want for everybody's peace. I don't care if you're from Earth or wherever you're from. I just want a peace of mind, just want peace, just want to be able to live in accord with divine principles. It's a struggle with all the stuff that's going on that we're dealing with our own inner demons, our own inner consistencies. We can't be able to affect the world without if we are not able to consciously affect the world within first. And it took me a minute to understand that. I just want to get on here today and go over a couple of things. It seems like for some reason, man, these folks are completely infatuated with hold on, let me see if I can get this. They are completely infatuated with what this man the president of Russia, Putin, Vladimir Putin, it seems like they are completely infatuated with what this man got going on as far as his wealth and everything else. Why? Who gives a flying fuck? I mean, I have to say that because we know that this man has been the president of Russia for how long? He's been involved with corrupt shit, with corrupt oligarchs and all this other stuff. But why would they keep on just consistently? I mean, it's part of the propaganda, but who cares? Okay, you got a gold toilet. I mean, people who have it like that, they will flaunt it like that. But the thing is, what upsets me and gets me pissed off is that they will constantly put this stuff up here about Putin. And this is the U.S. Sun, but there are other articles that's been speaking on this shit, but they will put this stuff out here and put it on here like this. But then when it comes to how many people in this country have shit that are involved in corrupt or negative shit, and you don't hear a word, you don't hear a peep. It's like as long as we can keep it on somebody else right now, to shine on somebody else, we can deflect from the shit that we're doing. And every time I see shit like this, I just get, why? What the fuck? Okay, and are they showing the Saudi Arabian princes and shit, all their shit, and yachts and houses and all this stuff? Same, the governments who responsible for chopping people up and doing shit, according, that's the claim. My man that came over here who was the working for that media service, got married, was told not to come back to Saudi Arabia, and when he went to, what was it, Jordan? It was one of those other countries over there. He was met by a hit squad. Nobody still know what really happened to that man, but damn, we know that there wasn't no justice done behind that, even from those who claim they're all about that. But why are they showing all this stuff that a lot of the billionaire class here and a lot of the elite class in politics got in their households and they're doing while they sit up and work against the undermining the social structure of this country? Are they showing that? No. So it kind of gets on my nerves when I see this shit. But they just show you the energy that's out here, man. Got to be prepared and to confront it with understanding mindset, that you don't just fall in and just go with what anybody say. I guess that's what I'm trying. But I want to get over here, man. It's a lot going on. Still got that stuff going on in Russia. Let me get out of here. In Ukraine. The weather situation is beginning to pick up as far as storms, and this is something that people gonna have to understand is hold on 1 minute. That this is something that's going to be occurring right now in the spring months. So let me get to I just want to go to this because we're getting ready to head into another season of this. Now, being in the Detroit area, knowing that the designs and a lot of the layouts for a lot of cities across America, a lot of the infrastructure, a lot of the basic infrastructure is outdated, hasn't been properly maintained over the years. And being in the Detroit area, those issues starting last year, it's been issues throughout the last, I'm 46, so I know when I was a child, when I was a teenager, there was flooding going on in our home. And even though I moved and lived away from Detroit and come back, you still see issues. Hell, you can't have a strong rain for 30 minutes without it leaving flooded areas in the streets. So when you see stuff like this, Detroit gets $57.5 million for flood prevention. First step is planning, public review, and then building a workforce to help make those changes. And it's like, how many times have people been hearing this shit? It's like, how many times have people been hearing it? How many times have people after certain incidents, they've been told by their city officials, state officials, and federal officials that help is on the way. Hell, we heard that about fixed damn roads, which was a joke, because if you ain't got the money to fix it, how you gonna do it? What, you gonna print some more out of nowhere? And the sad thing about it, the money that they're getting for this shit, mind you, Detroit gets $57.5 million for flood, almost $60 million. And you would think that, okay, where y'all getting this money from? Y'all getting it from money that was allocated to a lot of the stimulus projects, or you having the infrastructure bill, which was money that was being printed out of nothing. A lot of people don't understand that when you print money out of nothing, eventually that comes back to bite everybody. But this is what the authorities won't tell people. That's why the economy is in the dump is here now, and people are suffering. So I like to see how this gets off, because a lot of the areas, it's all around in Detroit and suburb areas that are affected by this shit. You know, it's not just the city of Detroit, it's also other areas. Hold on 1 minute. Let me get out, got a phone call coming in. Hello? All right, back again. But like I was saying, Uh, People are tired of this shit, man. Every year, man, it's like nobody can really do anything because it's like you're battling against Mother Nature, and nothing you can do to really stop that. If Mother Nature comes, she's coming. Just like with the tornadoes and everything that's been happening over the last couple of days, got earthquakes been hitting, sparking up. Um, but with the infrastructure so badly neglected, and then at the last minutes of you know, with shit increasing, then everybody want to jump on the bandwagon of getting this shit fixed. When and a lot of the times, a lot of the areas that are mostly heavily hit, they happen to be areas that are mostly populated by people of minority status or whatever they want to call it. And so it's almost like you get there's only a talk about it, but you never get shit done. And now all of a sudden they're talking about doing it. 60 million for flood prevention. Let's hope that this goes into doing something. But when you look at this right here, who the fuck could keep dealing with this shit every year? It's almost like people are scared to go into the spring, because once you go into the spring, you know, that's bringing the spring rains and the summer rains behind that. And, you know, if these folks ain't fixed shit or ain't fixed, well, we know if they ain't done nothing since last year, then 9 times out of 10, the shit that happened last year could happen again. And that was another article in which, let me go to it, DTE, here in the city, class action lawsuit that was filed against DTE. For the June floodings of last year, brought against DTE alleged role in June flooding. Now this is this is on Merriman Road. This is up, you know, in Livonia, and you know, it's like in Westland areas and stuff. Look at that, man. And you got right here, the Great Lakes Water Authority, flood victims demand accountability, but you're not getting no accountability. You're not getting the reason why, after so many years, the infrastructure, as far as for this city or any other city across this country, in which this is a daily thing every time we go into these seasons, that you have all this stuff. So it makes you wonder, once again, like I've always said, it makes you question, what are these folks doing with tax money, property tax money, all this shit that's supposed to be going toward the ins and outs of living in a city area, a county area, a state. What is that shit doing? And of course, federal tax. What is all that money doing? Now, when you go into when you go into that, and then you look at, and this is the U.S. debt clock, 30 trillion national debt, and you don't, and you know, no way, nobody in this country for generations to come, for so many years, will be able to pay back this tremendous debt. Why is this always doing this? Why? What is the thing going behind it? I mean, people have to ask themselves, where are we at? Look at that. U.S. national debt, over 30 trillion. And so money can be printed, and the idea could be that it's being printed for this and that, but and you see no benefit from it. Just think about people who constantly have to deal with this shit every year. The money they have to use out of their own savings, money that they intended for other things, and they have to use that money on clean up from floods, clean up from this, clean up from something that if the powers that be had have been really thinking on this stuff and really gave a damn, these issues would have been addressed a long time ago. A long time ago. Man, you know, and it's like when you add up all the money people have used, and a lot of people who are getting hit, they don't have money like that. And it's like people get forced to sell, or if they're renting, they get up out of there and all this shit and just displace people. And a lot of people ain't looking at that shit. I be trying to do my best in the Black community to open up eyes so that people could stop being stuck in one track minded in a lot of nonsense that has nothing to do with human development, period. I mean, you got to understand this is a part of it, man. When you living in a world in which, and I'm gonna go back to this picture, man. This is crazy. But when you see shit like this, man, just, and then you have people whose basements and everything. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play this video. See what they're talking about. Wait for this commercial to play. Okay, hold on 1 minute. Let me get the volume up.
To help with flooding prevention.
Most of that money going to the city of Detroit. Pamela Osborne is live in the Jefferson Chalmers area. Pam, a lot of families there were impacted by that flooding and figure to be impacted by this announcement too.
I just hope, man.
Yeah,
I'll wait till it's finished.
For on this particular stretch of Ashland, they're really wanting to see some of those dollars go towards rebuilding the seawall here that goes alongside the canal. People living in these flood-prone communities, they are hopeful this money means a solution that will keep them and their belongings in their homes, no matter how hard it rains.
Ours were up to the roof in water. You know, in the houses, basically just sewage backs up in the houses.
Jefferson Chalmers is one of those neighborhoods that's ended up underwater more than once. This was last summer.
It's not only happening to me, but it's happening to my neighbors. And I mean, we've lost a lot.
To say residents are fed up is an understatement.
One thing after another, it's like every time I'm ready to work on something, I'm constantly spending thousands on cleanup from this floods.
Scott says the temporary fix to those problems is causing more damage to his property, particularly the seawall. He was interested to learn about a new $57.5 million grant the city received for flood prevention and recovery.
Help is on the way. It's not going to all happen overnight, but we do have the dollars to put a fix to the problem that they've been experiencing.
You heard it. Help is on the way.
The city's water and sewerage department hopes those federal funds will help move projects along.
I mean, we have more projects that are in the engineering and design phase to help reduce flooding of homes and to rebuild our infrastructure.
Starting April 1st, the city will start installing backflow prevention valves to keep water out of basements. The hope is with these new dollars, they can quickly get to all 11 neighborhoods that are prone to flooding. So
you heard it. Help is on the way. So let's stay positive on that. Hopefully people could have that problem addressed. But one thing he did say that even though, you know, a lot of people have heard that a lot, and it didn't mean that anything fluid happened behind that, but one thing he did say doesn't happen overnight. But you can't just say that and not do shit, and people don't see any type of improvement. But like I said, yeah, people are tired of this shit, man. But anyway, hold on, let me go to let me get out of here. So now I'm gonna go to something else just for a minute. And I'll try and cover a few things and then go on to what I really want to talk about. it's still weird. I mean, all you hear is now they got in the news. They're mostly talking about, of course, Ukraine, Russia, and the Supreme Court hearings and all that shit. Me personally, I can give a damn about that. I don't care less about the Supreme Court. They're liars. They're hypocrites, just like everybody else. Each to each their own. They can continue to invest in it and think that they hold some type of standard in the world when they got a bunch of liars and hypocrites on the bench. Yeah, I still can't get over the fact that Sotomayor was allowed to give misinformation on COVID, yet that wasn't even brought up. But anybody else who brought it up, look at Joe Rogan. But let me see, what was I looking for? And you know, these folks are keeping this is what I want to go to. They're keeping a fear narrative going, not only through war and health, but also through this climate change aspect. Let me share this. You know, over the last couple of weeks, over the last few months, they've been talking about Antarctica and, you know, how the temperatures are getting are starting to rise higher and higher, and it's causing more and more snow melt and ice melt, which affects the raising water levels or whatever. And, you know, people who are caught up in climate change and in you know, the things that cause climate change, according to these climate change activists. Everybody don't believe that shit. I mean, some people believe it, some people don't. Everybody's not in that same boat. A lot of things just happen because the planet, shit been happening like this over 1,000 years, even before our asses was on this rock. So it's like, you can't really say all that. If anything, it does, we've added to it. You know, it is because of some shit that we are doing to fuck with the air quality but me personally, in my opinion, to each their own, I don't think that we have a massive effect on anything like that. We have done more damage to nuclear and radiation shit, just like the atomic bombs dropping, the explosions at Chernobyl in Ukraine and Fukushima in Japan that left radioactivity everywhere. This is the shit that we do, and we keep going, you know. But the earth is gonna take care of herself, even if she gotta shake and get everybody off of this motherfucker to get it right. But they keep throwing stuff out here like this, you know, to keep it in an anxiety, fear-based world in which everything we're being blindsided all directions by all these fucking topics that all these so-called scientists and these so-called people that have your best interests at heart are sitting up putting out here. And then when you find out later on down the line, maybe a year, a couple years later, whatever, they caught up in bullshit and nobody seems to want to speak on that point, you know. But it's interesting how they keep bringing this shit up about Antarctica, but they don't want to talk about all the stuff that's going on in Antarctica, you know, the mystery around Antarctica. Like, why do fucking Antarctica have so much these rules and all this stuff with dealing with going there? And why is there so much secrecy surrounding Antarctica? Why are they they're finding shit there. They're finding, as the ice melt, as the snow melt, the stuff that was up under there begins to show. They already have provided that Antarctica used to be a snow-free, ice-free, tropical environment. What happened? Why they won't speak on that? Why it's always got to be on Antarctica is melting, the ice is melting. Let's talk about the basics of Antarctica. What was Antarctica at first? And this is stuff that a lot of people don't kind of think on, probably don't give a fuck about, but it's just real talk. It's just real talk. If you're gonna have a discussion about certain things, have a discussion about these things and have it all around the board, not just on centered pieces. Now, what I wanted to go into is the dream state. And the reason why I heard somebody speaking on this earlier, and I wanted to also get in here and say something because people probably don't have an understanding of what that means in a dream state situation. Once you begin, it seems like over the years, I began to notice that a lot of things compared to what we've been taught, is a little bit more to it. And some of these things I still don't have a proper understanding on, but yet I slowly get there. Or there are things that I do have understanding on, but it's hard to explain to others because they haven't reached that pinnacle of understanding yet, conscious-wise. And that's good because everybody will eventually see it for what it is. But I wanted to go into this. Dreaming may be defined as a mental state, an altered state of consciousness, which occurs during sleep. Dreams usually involve fictive events that are organized in a story-like manner, characterized by a range of internally generated sensory, perceptual, and emotional experiences. And the way they're explaining that, you're living a life in your dream, and you don't even know it, or you're not aware of it. Consciously, you're doing this. You're actually living another life. And I don't know how other people experiences with dreams have been. I know from from throughout the years, I've had plenty of dreams, but it's always been dreams that stood out. Like, how can a person who's in their 40s continue to still remember a dream that happened when they was in their 20s or in their 30s? Like it actually happened, like an event that actually happened in this reality. Just like you can remember a family reunion that happened 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but this is a dream. And because of the lies and because of the nonsensical way they have not taught people about themselves in a conscious state, because the universe, the world that we see and everything in it has consciousness attached to it. And this consciousness comes from the source, which people kind of relate that source to being God. Now, their ways of getting there may differ, but this is that source. What are the 5 states of consciousness? States of consciousness: awareness, bias, consciousness, hypnosis, priming, sleep, trance. Now, in all these things, now I'm no psychologist, I'm no none of this stuff. I'm just going by what I have looked into and what I have personally experienced or heard from others that I have talked to on this subject. Awareness, first of all, the awareness, I came into being of knowing that, and just knowing that everything going on within you sometimes is not exactly what it seems. There have been things that happen where I'm aware of internally, conscious wise. I'm aware of certain things happening, cannot put my finger on it, but I know it's there. All down, man. And this is one, hypnosis and priming, that I still have to but I'm sure trance and sleep and bias, I know about that. But when you think about certain things, and I'm gonna go to this because it's one dream, and I'm gonna put this out here. It's one dream I had several years ago. And this dream sticks out like it happened yesterday. And I've always been speaking, when I do an example. always use this as a means of now in this dream, which was kind of which was weird, but at the same time, I kind of was like prepared for it. In this dream, I was involved in something that was dealing with let me put this up. Because one thing I want to say, I do not believe that human beings are the only people or life forms around. I'm gonna put that out there. A lot of people already know that's where I'm at anyway, but there are more life forms out here than what we've been told. And you know, the trick is to keep saying that, oh, we still looking for life and all this shit. A lot of these liars and a lot of these same motherfuckers out here acting like they got people's best interests at heart. They know about a lot of this shit and they refuse to acknowledge it, but rather keep everybody in the dark about it. Because there are beings out here that are for their own self-centered interests, and there are beings out here who are really about trying to help and uplift other beings. Now, the reason why I wanted to mention this, and I had a dream a while back, and in this dream, I was at a house. I don't know, haven't never seen this house before. This house was on a corner. There was a huge lot next to it. I had some people doing some type of work there. I can't remember. I never did know what the work there was being done, but I was so busy outside with a friend of mine who, this person, to my recollection, I never met this person. And when I go, I've never seen this guy, and I never seen him in any school classroom, never seen him in any other city or state I've lived in, never seen this person. Definitely one person that I grew up with or any of that. But this person was there, and we were ace boon coons. And there were like 3 guys that were doing some work at this house, and that I have no idea where we was even at. And they were doing weird stuff, and all of a sudden they was packing up and getting ready to go and getting ready to get their final say in and you know, get ready to collect their payment. But the guy who was with me, my friend, he realized that the work that they were supposed to be doing, they weren't doing it. And so he was like, why are y'all packing up? Y'all still got the rest of it? And of course, there was some words being, I wasn't too gentle because of that firebrand in me. And it was, and the fact that they were doing stuff arbitrarily without even letting me know anything. So of course I went off and was going off. And so these guys were cleaning up. Well, they was getting their tools and stuff together and going back to their van. But the thing about it is, I got pissed and told them to get the hell out of here. You're not getting nothing. They kept coming back onto the property and lingering and like they were waiting on something. So I'm like, what the fuck? So when my friend, this guy I haven't ever known, he steps up and he says some things to him. And he's like, oh, y'all gonna stay right here? He goes in and he grabs a pistol. So I don't know if this pistol was, you know, in this area or in this reality or whatever, was there any was this pistol working the same as the ones in our reality? Did he have to have a permit or what? I don't know what was going on. I just know he went and grabbed a pistol. He came back out with it and told them, look, y'all need to leave. Y'all were asked nicely to leave. Y'all came here to do a job. Y'all didn't do it. Y'all sitting around here playing games and y'all think somebody gonna pay y'all or think somebody gonna accept this shit. It's not happening. Get out of here. When he did that, they kind of started moving toward their van, but all of a sudden another vehicle came down the street and parked right behind their van, and a couple more individuals, like 3 individuals, got out. And the next thing I know, me and my friend are surrounded by not only the original 3 guys, but 3 more guys who jumped out of this vehicle behind them. Was it 3? Yeah, 3. And one of these guys didn't have an appearance because one had a hoodie on, so you really couldn't make out this person's facial features. So I thought that was kind of weird. But the thing about it, they surrounded us. We're standing there, and my friend was like, "You see this? Oh, y'all trying to go there, huh? After we didn't ask you nicely, okay?" And right when they did that, another vehicle pulled down the street. This time, 4 individuals hop out. Haven't never seen these guys before, don't know who they are. And they start saying, you all were told to leave. And I think that's in the best interest that y'all do. For everybody, leave. And right when that was said, the individual that had a hoodie on, which kind of looked at like he started to raise his head, kind of like that under the hoodie. And when I seen the individual's face, the individual's face kind of reminded me of this picture here. But the thing about it was this being was grinning like sarcastic type of grin, like, yeah, we got you now. And once he started raising his head in the hoodie, and I caught the full glimpse of a reptilian humanoid's face, I was startled, but at the same time, I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here. This is in my dream. And just like that, bam, this being hit me with the palm of his humanoid hand. And I didn't know his hands looked. His hands was inside of his hoodie pockets. Hands had little claws on it, whatever. But all I know is that hand hit me palm style right here in the solar plexus area, and seemed to knock the spiritual essence. And from a third person point of view, it seemed to knock. When that happened, I kind of was able to see in a third person view, my spiritual essence come out of my body and come back in. And when I came back in, I was kind of fatigued. It was like that took so much energy just from that being doing that to me that I was tired, and I was confused and disoriented, discombobulated, all that shit, all in one. And I was standing there kind of slumped, trying to get my thoughts together and everything, because I'm thinking at the same time, I know it's still a threat. But something reared up in me while I was regaining my strength and regaining my composure, in which I realized my hands were down at my sides, and they started to ball up. And when they balled up, I don't know what I was going to be able to do. And I coming against something like that, I don't know what the hell. What can I do? Or what can anybody do? But my hands started to ball up. And when my hands balled all the way up, I immediately looked up. And that's when I woke up. And and the reason why I woke up, because a lot of time when I'm in a deep state like that, any little thing on the outside around me while I'm asleep can wake a person up. And something had awakened me out of that state. But this being and reptilian beings are considered to be a type of extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings that folks don't want to talk about. And this is exactly almost how this thing look. Now, if a person is in a dream state, ain't no telling what the hell you're gonna run across. You run across all type of players and characters. Some you know, some you don't know. I've had elephants, tigers talk to me like they're a human. Actually sit there and talk to me like they're human, asking me questions in dreams. I done had dreams where you be in, and it's not like a person's mind was dwelling on some stuff like that. It was far from it. I never set up and thought about having a conversation with a talking elephant or a tiger, or even being bogged down in a war zone that seems like it wasn't even on this planet. I don't know where this was at, but it's many other examples of this stuff. I just wanted to go into this because we had to understand that a lot of stuff in our life, a lot of stuff that we think these folks have taught us, the old Sigmund Freud thing, dreams are just a suppressed state and all this shit and all that. A lot of that stuff is garbage. We are conscious, multi-dimensional beings. I'm coming to learn that on a daily basis. And that being said, the powers that be know that. So they would do everything to try and keep people from understanding what that means, especially when they know the ancients knew this and they were able to manipulate and do things and even converse and have relationships with other parts of other forms of life. Some who wanted the dark side, some who preferred to stay on the light side of light. I mean, you can look in history and see who chose the dark side just by historical context of everything that's happened and what has been. But people have to understand, this is another way of looking at our dreams as we are in another state. Now, the more you're not aware, and this only happens when you when you become aware of certain stuff and you begin to look at things differently. You begin a lot of people, they have dreams where they always having a nightmare and all this stuff. And that's probably what they're constantly calling for in their life, in their daily thing. This is probably stuff that they're probably down spirited, depressed, full of stress, and a lot of this adds to shit like that. So when you're in your sleep state, your multidimensional spiritual essence is somewhere else experiencing that shit, and it's like, that's something you don't want to I would rather be experiencing joy and peace and everything else in all states. But we have to see the good, we have to see the bad too, as well as the good, because everybody has, once again, freedom of choice to choose which path they want to go. But yeah, that was a dream that I still gonna remember like it was yesterday. And this dream happened. I wasn't even in Michigan yet. I was still in Georgia and been in Michigan since 2018, back in Michigan. But this like 2015, 2016, I had that particular dream of the reptilian humanoid that open hand hit that solar plexus. And when a person doesn't have an open mind to a lot of the stuff that these folks have been lying about, or even have an open mind to understand that, okay, maybe there are some things these folks may have been telling a story about, or they're just giving little half truths and shit. They're not giving a whole full explanation. Once you begin to understand that, then it's easier to look at, for me it is, it's easier to look at things differently even in dream states, even when you see what's going on with the weather and all the agendas that are trying to blame certain things on certain topics so that certain people in power could get paid off of it, while at the expense of enslavement of the population, some form of tyrannical enslavement. So, this is something that a person really has to kind of be aware of, and this world ain't all is cracked up to be far as how we've been taught. You gotta, step outside that box. I just want to get on here and understand that the more a person try to do their best to try and do better as far as in their thinking and in their thoughts and everything, the more certain things will start to be perceived differently, and not in a bad way. It's being perceived differently to a point where you want people to be at peace. You want what's right for everybody. You want everybody to be experiencing a level of contentment in which there is no want, there is no need for basic things, man. Basic experiences that people need, basic utilities, basic this, basic that people need to survive, but yet are being mitigated or slowly deprived from the masses, while so many sit back and profit off of this shit, man. There's no way how a person could do that shit, man, and claim to be on board with humanity. I don't see any of them on board with humanity. It's easy for me, I guess, for me to say it because of certain shit I've experienced in the past, still experience. It may be different for other people, but I just hope, man, everybody begins to move accord and follow their thoughts that are leading them away outside of the box that we all been put into. I jumped out that box a while ago and still trying to stay out of it, even though you have to deal with people that try and keep you in that box. The thing is, you gotta still remain strong for yourself, because a lot of people don't know no better. It's like when Jesus was on the cross, Yeshua was on the cross, and he was asked, well, what about all those who wanted this, who wanted this to come about? And when he was talking to God, and he's like, Eli, Eli, somebody, I don't know the whole Latin language to be speaking it like that, but he's like, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. A lot of us do not know what we are doing, yet we are doing what we have been taught, and we still don't know what we are doing because the teachers don't know what they're doing. Some of them do, and what they're doing is trapping people. So you have to deal with people who don't want to jump out of that box and consistently want to try and keep you in that box, but you got to stay stand on your strength, truth, and with no matter how much you love a person, it's still you got to have your own spiritual standing, because everybody still think for some reason they say that, a lot of people say things when it only fits certain agendas of certain people always say, well, salvation, everybody is responsible for their own salvation. That sounds good when it's only fitting a certain narrative. People will say that, but then they'll bash you if you ain't thinking the same way they are. But you just said that I'm responsible for my own salvation, so let me have that choice. And vice versa and all that stuff. You're responsible for your own salvation. Only you're responsible for your soul development. People are there to help or be of some assistance, just as well as people are there to not help and be of some negative difference. So, I guess this is something that everybody gotta understand, man, that especially in the community I am from, Black community, it's more brainwashed more and more as the days go by, according to the stigmas in the Black community. And this is holding a lot of people back, man. Like I say, man, I can't sit up here and ride with Black thoughts and Black this and Black that and Black that. Why? Ride with that and then sit up here and you have to deal with the unfortunate sadness of seeing your communities and everything going up in smoke because of these same people killing one another and doing all type of shit for no reason. Just this last 48 hours, people been getting shot, people been getting ran over, all this in the community because we don't understand how to move out of that shit. We don't want to. People just stuck on one avenue, and a lot of it is material shit. And we all know that a lot of it has to go back to how we talk, but people use that as an excuse to a point where everybody's under the gun. Don't think that just because motherfuckers may have done this shit to one group of people or it's a lot of this stuff has happened all over. Don't think that they're not up under the gun because of certain shit themselves. But for some reason in the Black community, Negroes don't want to hear that shit. But then once you start talking about some stuff that truly is beneficial, motherfuckers will be in denial all day long. They will call, just like with this Supreme Court chick. Everybody jumping on the bandwagon. Oh yeah, Black, we need her on there and all this. Who cares? I mean, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about none of them Black folks in politics. They ain't doing shit. What the fuck are they doing? People sitting up here jumping on bandwagons and shit, riding with folks because of color. White folks riding with white folks because they feel like they're gonna have their needs more addressed. Black folks riding with Black folks because either way, somebody's gonna be left out in the cold, and that's not right from either side. Don't matter who the fuck he is. That's the shit that prolongs, that showcases the hypocrisy amongst all peoples, all humanity, man. But for some reason, man, in our neighborhoods, in our communities, Black folks won't move out of that area of, first of all, taking everything. First of all, you've been lied to. We've been lied to, and I'm gonna go here. It's not nothing against any other party, but we've been lied to a long time. And for motherfuckers to sit up here and tax them lies and accept them lies, and then sit up with all this weird and strange shit going on, and you still want to accept lies from the same motherfuckers who've been lying to motherfuckers for how long? And you still accept that shit? It's come on, man. But then you don't even want to acknowledge what the fuck people are doing and hold accountability to shit that's going on in your own communities, man. Children can't even be children, scared to go outside. Then the ones that are outside, they act like they ain't got no home training. Soon as you speak on that stuff, then you are fucking Uncle Tom and all that shit. How? I just know how it was back when I was little. I know goddamn well some of the stuff that I see children doing nowadays and getting away with it because whatever the reason may be, people can judge on their own, but you can't really judge because at one time you were there. But you see what happens behind that shit, what it leads to. Children nowadays, man, a lot of them, man, they're lazy. They don't want to. I mean, then you wonder why it hurts when you see a lot of children. What are children doing obese? What are children doing? What obese? What are they doing? Suffering from obesity. I mean, back in the day, you had examples of that, but I mean, far, far less than has been in over the. I haven't been in high school since 90. Last time I was in school, 93. And you know, back in the early 90s and 80s and stuff, you didn't hardly see that. I don't remember. Even though, yeah, of course, when you did have overweight children, yeah, they would have brought up jokes and all this stuff, but you didn't see it like that. It's almost like people don't care no more. They just allow their children to do anything, or their children running the show. And then they get mad when you try to tell them about it. Don't tell me how to raise my child. But then when their child end up going out here doing something that's fucked up, then they want everybody to feel remorse. Or if they get caught up in some shit where the police involved, or unfortunately, there may be some violent incident in which the police may have taken them out or locked them up or whatever. Then the first thing people want to try and do is look for an excuse and say, no, that ain't right. My child was this and that and the third. They had no business. They wrong for that. You know, black justice, we need that. Man, come on, man. All this stuff start with people having to re-examine ourselves. There's plenty of black people out here that got their mind on right, man. And it seems like the whole community is being subverted by those who continue to want to embarrass, shame, and totally neglect everything that black folks have been fighting for over the years. Even though a lot of this shit was according to an agenda, and they at least they knew in their heart this is what they genuinely wanted. People, a lot of black folks back then genuinely wanted freedom for the black man and woman and child. People back then really wanted freedom or equal rights for you know, people of so-called minorities. They actually wanted this shit. And it wasn't about making no goddamn cherry picking shit and all this stuff. They knew that it also had to do with communities as well. You didn't probably, you know, but it's like all these people that everybody keep talking about, and role models, and they look up to, and you know, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and various other black leaders that were around, whether they were assassinated or whether they lived to the fullest. And even some who are still around, that back in the days, they actually had some type of genuine reflection on getting the community together. They would be fucking pissed and rolling over in the grave at the shit they see the black community in right now. And majority of the community being religious, whether it be Muslim or Baptist or however, you know, Christian or however, man, it don't even matter, man. If you're not even seeing the damage and shit that people are doing amongst themselves, and effectively trying to call that shit out, sitting up trying to turn your head from that. But as soon as you see something coming from the other side, then you quick to jump on that shit. That's not gonna work. All it's gonna keep doing is continue to keep what's happening right now. Every time something happens, black folks want to scream racism. We all know that shit is out here. I know it. We all know that shit is a part of the problem. But what about the racism that blacks feel in their own communities, that they can't even go? And it's fucking sad when you can sit up here and say, okay, I'm in Detroit. I'd rather be in the suburbs sometimes because I don't want to go in Detroit because of certain shit that happened. Why? That's like racism with your own people. I don't even want to go over there because every time I go in the city, you got folks doing ghetto ass shit and this and that and third. You gotta, you know, and you feel much safer, or you feel like you got much control of what you are doing when you're somewhere else. And that's fucking sad. That is sad, man. No matter how you cut that shit. I've heard that shit out of people's mouths. I feel that way a lot of times. When you get to talking about going certain areas, man, I'm not going over there. I'm not about to deal with that shit because they don't tell them what might happen. But as soon as you say, hey, let's go over here to a suburb, let's go to Troy or some shit, motherfuckers ready to go. But as soon as you start talking about in the city, no. And that shit should be a glaring example of the hypocrisy right along just in our own community, man. It's like, I hate to say this shit because I know how it's been. I've been a part of it, man. I'd have been fucking doing shit when I was younger, a part of gangs, all that shit, man. I know how this shit works. Been in prison, all that shit. I know how motherfuckers feed on one another. And then when it comes down to, you know, and this is one of the things I had to bring up a couple of months ago in the discussion, is like, we talk all this shit. Yes, tough guys, thugs, all this shit, talk all that bullshit, but you won't see not one person that's in there. Why you won't see these same thugs robbing white folks in suburbs or doing some of the crazy shit that they do in the city or in the close around the area? Why you don't see them doing that shit? Is it because they're cowards and they don't want to do shit when it comes to somebody else because they feel like if they get caught, that the system will come straight down on them? They might have a little a break if they do it on their own kind, or is it because they just feed off their own? Either way, it's fucked up. Why you don't never see that? Why you don't never hear that? Why you don't never see black folks out in the suburbs sitting all in the middle of the streets and shit, like they own the streets, barely letting cars come by and all that shit, and they think it's cool and cute? Why you don't see that? Why you don't see that? But soon, why you don't see even just and I'm gonna say this because I experience this shit every time I'm in the city. Why do you think all these fucking speed bumps have been put in the city? When you go out to the suburbs, from Livonia to Canton to Westland, you will not see not one fucking speed bump. You may see them in an estate area or, you know, apartments, parking lot, but you're not going to see no residential streets, neighborhood streets with no fucking speed bumps. Why is that? Why is the whole city have to have speed bumps when the outlying areas do not have speed bumps? And I bet you not one Negro sat back and listened and thought about that shit. But what makes Negroes want to sit up and speed all day long in the city down residential streets when you have children? Like they don't have no care in the world. We already got a lot of these hit and runs and shit going on, but they'll do this shit. But then when you go out to the suburbs, everybody trying to go by the law then, or they scared to go out there. I can't drive out there, man. Why? Because you can't drive out there and drive like you got some goddamn sense. That's totally and that's why I say the black community, which I'm from, I love the black community just like I love all communities because I'm a human being. All of us are human beings first before we fall into these other racial narratives and shit. We all coming up, man, struggling from the ground up, trying to make it back to the oneness of God. That's how I look at it. But come on, man, we gotta call shit out how it is. Motherfuckers can't call this shit out and work on what needs to be worked on from within. Motherfucker can't expect nothing from the outside to do any type of help. Only thing you can count on is throwing your hat in the ring of all these liars and hypocrites that love to feed off race hustling and race baiting and all this shit and keeping that shit going while they profiting off of it. Period. What all motherfuckers got to do is come out and be like, look, black people need to wake the fuck up. Stop doing shit that you don't want motherfuckers to be doing to you. Stop doing that shit to your own. What the fuck are y'all doing? And that hurts me when I hear people. I heard my homeboy, he's like, man, I don't even like driving over certain areas, man, because when you do, you know, you gotta deal with, and I understand, I completely understand it. I'm willing to bet you, if you ask any person in the city of Detroit, why the hell do you have all these speed bumps in the city And when you go outside and see, you don't have speed bumps. It almost makes it look bad, like nobody in the city is competent enough to drive with sense. So it's like saying, since the city is majority black, you know, okay, well, it's too many incompetent people there. They don't know how to drive, or they don't take the speed limit seriously or whatever. So we got to do this. And then you got people, a lot of the money that was used for this shit, people petitioned to the city to get this shit done. So the people are asking for that shit on all these streets. Some streets that you wouldn't even think needed a damn speed bump, but yet these people are saying, look, we need it. And this is where shit has happened, man. It's like, and then go to every black event and act like shit, just skate over all these issues, skate over personal conduct, skate over your behavior out in society, skate over the envy and the jealousy and the hatred of one another, and seeing somebody thinking a different way amongst yourself, or coming up a way you not used to, or you don't agree with. You don't hear none of that. None of that. I see articles of people. This was an article I've seen. It's this black woman who has a 6,000 square foot warehouse that start. I think it was in New Orleans. But her dad had a recipe for some hair products, and she's about to start. She's got her own business going. That's a good thing. And the first shit that I've seen in the response section was it had to have been a black person. Yeah, that's right. Don't let them crackers get a hold of that recipe. They'll take it and do it on their own. Now there may be some truth to that, according to the shit that we know have happened in the past. But let's not just stop there. Let's keep it going. Let's also say, let's watch out for your own who are jealous, envious, hateful of people's success, who would maybe try to rob you or break in your shit, tear your shit up, make you spend money. You know, nobody wants to talk about that. Make you spend money out of your pockets and out of money that you done earned for something different. Now it's got to be put toward fixing shit, because you got people breaking in shit, breaking in your car, stealing your shit. All this shit, all these folks you see it, and nobody want to act like they don't see who it is. That's the sad part about it. Until a motherfucker in our community start putting their foot down, start saying, man, this shit ain't okay. A lot of it could stem from music influence. Yeah, motherfuckers sit there and lie all they want to, but yeah, a lot of it can deal with poor influence from role models who may be a person's. You can't expect to be led properly or led in the right direction spiritually, physically, or mentally by following somebody who's a drug dealer and all this other shit. I'm just gonna be real. That could be a catalyst to get you started. Then if you jump ship and start something else, which is and move from the negative into something positive and build and become successful, that's a good thing. You can come back and say, look, this is what I did. But yet I was able to move on and come and experience this. But I just wanted to get on there. I just wanted to share a few things. But the last part of my talk here, dealing with the Black community, is something that I really would like people to understand, that I'm not trying to down motherfuckers. I'm not trying to, because every time I think about how I was back in the day. But at one time, there was a time where I began to wake up and see, man, look, we can't keep calling this shit like this, and then we denying what's going on in our own backyard. I seen it. Even in my years doing prison, I was locked up almost 13 years. So I know, even in prison, the lifestyle, the stuff that goes on in there, the parties, the characters involved, and you hate seeing the same shit over and over again. But with that, I'm gonna get ready to close out and wish everybody peace and the ability to allow themselves to be awakened by the Spirit of God into an area which they can begin to discern and see things for really what it is, and move forward. Also, keeping your eyes open on all the events that are happening around us and the things that are transpiring, because a lot of it holds keys to our future, whether one wants to believe it or not. But with that, I'd like to get off of here and just greet everybody as I came. Universal words of peace. Take care.